Hello everybody, it's Jamie from All Shipping Lines of course, and welcome to a new video. Today we have a kind of book review, and we shall be reviewing the James Cameron's Titanic book. So I'm very hyped to tell you about this book, so yeah, let's begin. So, the James Cameron's Titanic movie. I think the movie has a special place in all of our hearts. Especially in my heart. I've watched the movie when I was young, like 20 times. My parents had to hide the CD, otherwise I would keep watching it. So that addicted I was to the movie. But with this book, it talks all about the making of the movie. So James Cameron's thoughts, the making of the set, the making of the clothes, the making of the sinking scene, which for me, the sinking scene is one of my favorite scenes. Not because of all the death, of course, because that is terrible, but that scene with the Titanic stern rising up in the air with all the lights on. It's magical for me to see that, and how he and to read in this book how he was thinking about that scene and how he made it. It's just excellent, so I'm super hyped to share this book with you guys. So the first pages are a foreword of the man himself, James Cameron, where he says that, of course, the making of the Titanic is in this book, of the movie Titanic, of course. It was a 3-year odyssey for him, he says, of gut-wrenching lows and giddy heights, which even took me to the wreck itself, down to her North Atlantic grave. And of course, with every big project like this, you would have had highs or lows. One thing I didn't know is that, of course, Fox helped pay for the movie Titanic. But did you guys know that Fox also paid for the wreckage scene? So they paid James Cameron to go to the wreck itself. I didn't know that that Fox even paid for the expedition to the wreck. So all these kinds of little information you have in this book, it's amazing. But if you guys knew that Fox paid for going to the wreck of the Titanic, let me know in the comments. So James Cameron, he went to the wreck to film, of course, a few of the scenes. And now I'm gonna read a little snippet for you. Having borne witness to the wreck and feeling an inescapable connection to the lives of those who walked the ship's decks, I turned to the task of shooting the film with a sense of responsibility, to tell that story with an accuracy and compassion. This mantle of responsibility seemed to be taken up by everyone who worked on the film, a guiding principle that ultimately imbued everything in front of the cameras with a sense of absolute truth. From the carpet to the china, the fine details on the costumes, to the hand-carved woodwork paneling on the walls. The actors, challenged by the almost hallucinatory sense of having traveled back in time, gave a spectacular performance that swept us along on a powerful emotional journey. And if you read this foreword by Sir Cameron yourselves, because I highly recommend you buy this book, you can see that he put so much care in the project. And that is so amazing to see, because there are Titanic documentaries and movies that don't put the same amount of care in the project like James Cameron did. And that is sometimes a shame, because I mean, we are talking about a real event that happened, and you need, of course, to respect the ones who died that night. And it's amazing to see that James Cameron put so much care in this project. For me, at least, it's amazing to read. And now, my friends, I'm going to read again a little bit for you. As of this writing, it has been 14 years since I finished the Titanic movie in the fall of 19 97. I returned to the wreck site for a second expedition in 2001 and a third in 2005. We explored the interior of the wreck exhaustively, using robotic vehicles of our own invention. After 33 dives, I've spent more on Titanic than the captain and passengers had. Seeing through robotic eyes, I've walked the corridors and stairwells of the ship, feeling a strange, odd, out-of-body sensation, as if I were a ghost myself, haunting the decks. We discovered and imagined wonders unseen by human eyes since 1912. The lead glass windows of the first-class dining saloon and first-class reception room. The elevators with their floor indicators, looking as though they could just lit up at any second. The gold-plated clock in the Strauss suite, sitting on the intact mantle, looking for all the world like the underwater set we created of that very room for the movie. And most amazing of all, the blue and green tiles of the Turkish baths, sparkling in our lights, virtually intact after almost a century. I know more about the wreck and the forensics of how it came to sit on the bottom of the ocean in its present state. Dan is healthy, and I carry the stories of all those who lived and died on the site with me like companions. And still, after the odyssey of the movie, with its valley of failure followed by the pinnacle of success, and after touching the artifacts collected from the debris field and put in display in exhibits, and after exploring the wreck inside and out with ghostly robotic eyes until it's ingrained it in the landscape of my dreams, still I struggle to understand the meaning of Titanic. What is Titanic trying to tell us? Why does it still have meaning to us? And what is that meaning? So one interesting thing that I didn't know is also that on September 11th, 2001, we all know what sadly happened that day with the Twin Towers. But on that day, James was actually at the wreck of the Titanic. And this is a little bit of an excerpt again from the book. So let's read it. I was flying my robotic avatar, the small ROV named Jake, through the inside of the ship to rescue his brother Elwood, which had become trapped inside the wreck. After hours of white knuckle maneuvering, I managed to get both out and returned safely to their homes on board the mother subs. Exhausted, we returned to the surface, triumphant. It was the evening of September 11th, 2001. As I emerged from the sub on deck, I was greeted by the news that terrorists had used airliners to destroy the World Trade Centers, killing thousands. The world shifted under my feet. My friend Bill Paxton struggled to explain it all to me and my crewmates. Surely the last people in the Western atmosphere to know what has transpired. Suddenly, Titanic had no meaning whatsoever. While we were poking pointlessly around the dead wreckage of another century, our world was changing with the Teutonic violence around us. So, in the final two chapters of the foreword, James Cameron finishes with what he wanted to leave with the Titanic movie, the message he was trying to send. So, and that is then the end of the foreword. Now, the next chapter we will talk about is actually building the ship. So, building the set of the movie, which is highly amazing to read as well. So, I hope you guys buy yourselves a copy of this book, because it's It's amazing to read. So yes. And that will be the end of a kind of book review. I hope you guys liked and understood me praising this book and movie of James Cameron's Titanic. If you did, I really hope you, by the way, buy a copy of this book. I highly recommend you buy a copy because this is a must read. I quickly also want to thank the new subscribers who have subscribed to my channel. It really means a lot. If you have friends who like ocean liners or ships, please show them my channel. We are now trying to reach the 500 subscribers and I know we can do it together. And I hope, by the way, that you also understood me whilst I was stuttering. So sorry for that. So my friends, I wish you a pleasant day or evening wherever you are, and we will see each other then on the next video. Bye bye.